Big boy boners.
All right, guys, and welcome back to the Pulse of Willie and Al. How's it going today, brother?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Another day in paradise.
Oh
It's
yeah,
kind of hot here. But you and I get to hang out this weekend, and I'm big jazzed about that.
yeah,
So,
we do.
what a weekend it's gonna be. What a
And
weekend.
and this is the crazy thing. Like one of the best things about us hanging out together, especially this time of year, but also like in the winter time, is there's always sports going on. So,
Yes, sir.
we'll be able to hang out and enjoy some sports together. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's crazy to think about it. We talked about it a few minutes ago, but like, yeah, after you guys come this weekend, I basically have like less than a week left in the States. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Looking at this time now, I'm like, oh man, like a week and a half left and then heading back and another school year. Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
crazy. So, but
Well,
we
this
are.
weekend's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good hurrah. Yeah, gonna be a good
Oh
hurrah
yeah.
weekend.
Oh yeah, we're already
Yeah.
trying to decide what to do for winners and losers of the weekend. So, boys, look out. But
Nobody's gonna be a winner after this weekend.
I don't
Nobody's
think
gonna be a
so.
winner.
I don't think so. All gigantic losers. So,
That's right.
and here we are back today, with episode 88 from the Pulse. It's kind of crazy. We've been cruising through. We're tipping close to the triple digits there now, and yeah, today bringing episode 88, and today we're going to go through. It's going to be the NFC North that we're going to be breaking down today. We've got some baseball coverage for you too, because some news going on as well. But without further ado, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Go ahead and like that video, and let's get crushing here. Starting with Major League Baseball, we've got a little bit of craziness that has started to ensue in Major League Baseball. So let's go ahead and go right through the divisions. Right, we've got the Blue Jays. They lead the AL East, but it seems like the Yankees aren't their biggest competition right now. It seems like the Red
Yeah, you know
Sox
who is?
are
You know who's their biggest
surging.
competition?
Yeah.
That's right. Let's
Uh,
talk about it.
I
Yeah.
just let's talk about that real quick because I got to get your opinion on this. We've talked about this guy almost every episode the last 5 weeks, but Rafael Devers, like I know you were against this as it went through initially, but your team has been killing it since
Yeah.
he's been gone.
I read a stat. There are, I think, 22-5 since June 4th,
Hmm.
which is funny because like June 3rd, I went to go see them play and they looked lifeless.
Yeah, and you,
That they played the Angels and they lost in 10 innings at a just horrendous performance. And after the game, I was driving home, and Cora talked about like I don't really have a plan on what to do. We just really suck right now.
yeah,
And I remember them being like, well, if this doesn't motivate us, I don't know what does. And they've just been playing like gangbusters since. They've won 8 of 10. You know, 6 game winning streak. They swept Houston.
yeah.
They took 2 or 3 from the defending champ Dodgers. Like
And this is the
that's
stretch
huge.
you had fretted about before and saying like, "Oh man, did I just use Fred?" And yeah, fretted
Yeah,
about
you did. No,
yeah.
you did.
Oh
He's gonna hear
boy,
us.
he
He's
got
gonna hear
fretted.
us.
All
Damn
right,
it.
this is the one that you were kind of nervous about the second half schedule and saying, "Oh, we're playing these playoff potential teams, or not even potential, like legitimate playoff teams. This is going to be a gauntlet to get through."
Yeah, we started the break. We the Cubs series was a little rough for us, and
Hmm.
like the thing with the Cubs and the Phillies series, I actually I know we didn't win most of those games, but we were hanging around in those games,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, so we can play against these guys, and like, and then we just have kind of been on a tear, and I'm gonna say a thing this year, like I don't know if there's a clear cut favorite. Like you just kind of
Yeah.
have to make the playoffs this year, and you could talk me into any number of teams. Like look at Detroit right now. Detroit is just in a free fall.
Yeah.
Look at the Yankees, also same thing, free fall.
Hmm.
Toronto kind of been scuffling a bit. Houston, same thing, scuffling. Seattle just kind of hanging around. Same with Texas. Like
It's interesting you say that. One thing I just want to bring up right after this, I got to make a point. But all of these teams you're talking about that are leading their divisions, there's clear paths to the second place team in that division overtaking them and not looking
Yeah.
foolish in the sense, right? Detroit's probably the one that, yeah, they're still eight games up. I feel like they're gonna get it figured out, and like it's better to go through this rough stretch and still be 8 games up than to be going through that rough stretch when you were 1 game up, right?
The problem with Detroit's they've been going through this rough stretch since the beginning of June.
Yeah. Yep.
This is like a 2 month thing now.
Hmm.
Like
Losing
at
multiple
some
games.
point, like I mean, like them and Toronto are tied for the best record in the American League right now. Like,
But the Blue Jays during that time have been playing lights out. The
yeah,
Tigers have not been. So I'm wondering if the Tigers can catch some steam here moving into August, because here we are, right? They had a bad 60 days. Let's see, not even bad, but just below average 60 days compared to the previous 60. And now they've got to figure out how do we end the season the way we want to. It's going to be tough. One thing that I wanted to push back on you with is just because you're in games doesn't mean that it's a positive thing, right? The Braves have been in a lot of
it's like,
games
are we
this
going to talk
year.
about Atlanta here? Because we
Yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah,
I mean,
because they've lost the most one-run games all year, or the second most, right? And it's been embarrassing.
when you
Um,
sent me that stat the other day, I
yeah,
was floored by that because I was like, I knew they lost a lot of one-run
yeah.
games. I just wasn't prepared for that many.
Yeah, it's really sad because and it shows I mean not so much you see it less in baseball than I think you do in the NFL where it's you're losing those one score games have a ton of meaning, right? Or
Yeah,
1 to 2 to 3 point games, those are very difficult to get past because you're so close. In baseball, there's so many of them you can kind of offset some of it, but if you're losing all of them or the majority of them or 70% of them, it's very, very difficult to be competitive in this league. And even if you win half of the ones that you lost during that, you're instantly better and almost in playoff contention at that point or division
right.
lead potential, right? But it's been brutal. The Mariners too, like I wanted to mention about them, like they're chipping away at the Astros in the West, and the moves that they made at the deadline, I think that puts them in good position to be able to come and take it. And it kind of felt like with the moves that they did make, like with this uncertainty of who's going to be the reigning or who's going to be wearing the crown this year out of the AL, they're like, why don't we throw our hat in the ring?
Well, you just look at the wild card standings. There was, I think it's like I counted the other day. It's like 7 or 8 teams
Hmm.
that are 5.5 games. There's 8 teams, and the Red Sox have a 2.5 game lead.
Yeah.
The eighth team in the wild card standings is 5.5 back,
Well,
like which means everybody's still kind of in this.
yeah, that's also what I wanted to mention to you. I was looking at kind of the opposite league when I was thinking about that, but did someone forget to tell the Marlins that the season isn't over? Or,
Yeah,
or,
man.
or like tell them
I
and they just
just
didn't
read it.
care? Because like they might have something to say about that. I remember you kind of poking fun that like, oh yeah, and I remember looking at the standings, like the Marlins were just a little bit ahead of the White Sox. The White Sox were just a little bit ahead of the Rockies. That's not the same Marlins team. The last 60 days, they've been putting in work. Uh,
Yeah, Marlins have won 7 of 10. They're hovering right around 500. Like there's still 6 out in the wild card,
but that's
but
not
like
much. That's
that's
doable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to start winning 2 or 3 every series, but like
They've had the third
that's
best record in the league over the past 2 months, I believe,
yeah,
which is super impressive for a team that was trading away people at the deadline, and people were like, "Ah, okay, like maybe they're packing it in." Um, I don't know. The last 50 games, it's going to be a roller coaster, man. It's
yeah.
it's going to be an absolute roller coaster. Did you, by the way, have a chance to see it wasn't much of a game, but the start of the Cincinnati Reds and Braves game? And I think it was at the racetrack.
Oh yeah, I tuned in a little bit of it, but then it got
Hmm.
like rained out.
Rained out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And also, like everything I read, like they did a poor job of like kind of putting it together. Like they didn't have like a contingency plan if it rained. Like I heard, like the food was just kind of like really shitty food.
oh, that
Like
stinks too.
yeah,
You would think they'd have to do the same thing they do for a NASCAR event, right? But
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it. and watching the players out there while it's downpouring, I'm like, what are they still doing out there at this point, right? Strider
Yeah.
was supposed to pitch, and then he ended up getting sat. Just a weird thing. But um, who is one team you think is going to surprise the most in the 50 games? And you could answer this a couple different ways. You could say the team you think that's going to play spoiler. You could say the team that you think is going to make a run into the postseason. Who do you think is going to be the special team over these last 50 games?
Don't look. Terry Francona has the Cincinnati Reds. They're three back in the wild card, man. They're three back in the wild card. Like they're still kind of lurking in the division
Hmm.
technically. Like because respectfully, in the wild card race, it's a four-team race for three spots. It's
Yeah.
Chicago, it's the Cubs, Mets, Padres, and Reds at this point.
Yep.
And right now, you could say the Cardinals, but like respectfully, like they kind of traded away a bunch of pieces at the deadline,
Yeah.
so they're going to come back down to earth.
Hmm.
It's really those four teams, and the Reds are three out of the last wild card spot.
Hmm.
But Francona's got these guys kind of humming along, man. Like they have reasonably good pitching. You know, they have some good hitting. Like they're doing just enough. And I think this year, like no team is really out of it unless you're
Hmm.
the White Sox or Rockies.
Yeah. I guess
So
so. Or Atlanta, maybe. Atlanta's not
yeah,
far off from that bubble.
I mean Atlanta's only 14 out of the last wild card spot. So you
Yeah.
know,
So if
it's fine.
something catastrophic happens to those teams, maybe there's a
Sure,
chance
yeah.
for Atlanta to get swept in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, if seven teams in the National League have all their the planes go down, like
Yeah.
sure, there's a world you can do it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you wanted to mention about baseball before we move on to football here?
No, no, just it's nice seeing the Yankees in free fall.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
Oh
It makes
man,
me happy the Yankees fans in my life that are freaking out.
you're gonna have a
I can't
chance
wait to
to
see your
confront
Uncle
one of them.
Roger
Yeah, you're
next
gonna
week.
have a chance to confront him
I
on
have
it.
so many things to say to him.
I'm gonna see if he could stop by this weekend.
He should.
Yeah, have some
I'll
stuff
talk
to
to him then.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on here, let's see. In the NFL, I think the big news is kind of the holdouts right now that we have, right? Terry McLaurin, the holdout's still going on. Now he requested a trade, which I feel like at this point, and again, I don't want to belittle Terry McLaurin. I like him a lot, right? I think he's a great receiver, a great pass catcher. The other guys that were drafted in his year have been paid. He's asking for that now. And he feels like he's put in the time to do it. And we talked a little bit about that last week. But I feel like that's kind of the move now for guys. If they're having trouble, they're like, I'm going to request a trade. That's what the agent
Yeah.
does now. I don't know if he really wants to be out of Washington because I feel like it's a really good situation for him there. But he's put his time in. He's looking for a bump in pay. It's hard for
And
me
he's a
to.
good wide receiver, man.
He
Like,
is. He is. He makes a lot of really good catches. He's played with some really crappy quarterbacks over the last few years.
yeah.
Uh, so another guy that's asking for a trade, same division as well now, is Micah Parsons, and I feel like he has more um, to gripe with than I guess Terry McLaurin does.
Yeah.
As I look at kind of the way Micah Parsons is, I don't. I feel like his owner just doesn't know when to button it up sometimes.
Sure
He's like,
doesn't.
"Oh, I'm going to say this," and it's like, "Well, that could be construed really poorly by your top players." And he's like, I'm going to just say it." Anyways, it's like having that uncle that's had too much to drink at holiday dinner and you're like, "Oh man, what is he going to say now?" Like it just I don't know. Jerry, pay the guy or trade him, but just be aware that if Micah Parsons does get traded somewhere, he is going to have you circled on his calendar, and it's not going to be somewhere you want it to be, right? It's going to be him
Yeah.
going to Philly or him going to New England, right? And like him devastating you every single year that he has a chance to play you. Like if he goes somewhere and gets traded away, which I don't think will happen, but if he does, that they're going to destroy the Cowboys this year. And let's be very serious about that. If a guy like Micah Parsons gets traded out of Dallas because of this, that ends the era there for the Cowboys in their playoff window. Because I
Yeah.
don't care how good Dak and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are, If you don't have Micah Parsons on defense, you don't have a chance. Not against these real good teams in the NFC.
Oh.
Not a chance. Um,
And Micah Parsons, like he was really smart. He waited because he knew like he like watched like Miles Garrett reset the market, and then
yep.
he's like, okay, cool, I'm about as good as Miles Garrett. Pay me that money.
TJ
And like
Watt,
honestly,
Trey Hendrickson, he's waiting on
yeah,
these guys.
that's smart.
It
Like
is.
good for him.
Yeah.
Like and Jerry Jones, like the thing with the Cowboys is they always wait too long, and then they run into the situation where like, well, we could have signed him for a little cheaper, but now he just has gotten even better, and now we have to pay him more.
And
Like,
this is, dude, this is 25 years we've been seeing this, right? Like 25 years of them not paying guys when they should have. The Tony Romo saga that they went through, right? And like those teams were good enough, they should have at least had one Super Bowl appearance during those times. Like those
yeah,
teams were good enough that they
yeah,
they could have made it. But I don't know. When I look at this, I also see Micah as someone that Jerry doesn't like, and I feel like that's kind of an awkward take about it sometimes, and people may disagree with that. But he's got his own podcast. He goes and says what he wants, speaks his mind, does all of that stuff. As an owner, I'm not sure that's something you want from one of your star players because
right,
he's out there kind of pitching the business exactly how it is, right?
yeah,
Like, I don't know. For me, I think something needs to happen with that, but I'm sick of it dominating the news cycle, right? Like,
yeah.
just get it figured out. Anything else you wanted to mention about Parsons?
No, I just I think that if they're gonna trade him, like they can obviously ask. I don't even know if they can really ask for a lot because like he's due for an extension. Like so,
You,
you're taking a
yeah.
chance that this guy's gonna be a rental.
It would be contingent, any team trading for him,
That there's going to be a deal done.
a
Yeah.
deal done.
Same with McLaurin. Like if any team's
Yeah.
trading for him, there's the implication is that like there's going to be a deal.
Oh, the
Like
implication. Yeah, and this
always
is
the
yeah,
implication.
this is the other thing too that I want to mention is like I think Terry McLaurin going to another system, I think his situation is very different than Micah Parsons. I see Micah Parsons as a plug and play in any defense in the league. Yeah,
Yeah.
McLaurin can step into any offense on the league in the league, but I'm not sure it's going to be as effective as he's kind of been in Washington. And we've
Yeah.
seen that with players before, but Parsons, you put him on any team, dude, like tell me that's not your biggest nightmare waking up tomorrow and finding out Parsons ended up on Philly.
I was reading an article this morning actually about like potential Micah Parsons trades that they
Yeah.
were just kind of sussing out, and like one of them that I didn't even think about was the Raiders just lining up Max Crosby and Micah Parsons. Good
Yeah.
luck.
N- Not only that, like you put him on a younger team like that, right? Especially
Yeah.
with new ownership, a new coach that is just like, yo, I'm this guy's going to be a beast. And I have to believe
Yeah.
Pete Carroll was I don't think he was coaching with Belichick at the point where Belichick was with Taylor because I don't think their paths ever crossed with the Giants. I think it was only in New England that kind of ties them together. But
Yeah.
imagine if Pete Carroll had a guy like that, like Lawrence Taylor, right? This is
Right.
this version of him, right? So it's I don't know. They better get it figured out. But if he gets traded, I don't think there's any way you can describe the last 25 years of Dallas if they trade away Parsons, right?
I think
Other
that
than
that
an
might break
absolute
that might
failure.
break a lot of our Dallas fans. Like,
Uh,
friend, because
it
we all
has
have friends
to.
that loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna break them.
Yeah. And it not to mention it deteriorates that locker room big time because then guys like CD are like, yo, now I'm going, right? The Super
Yeah,
window, if Parsons is out of Dallas, the Super Bowl window is closed. They have an outside shot now, and I think there's a lot of better teams than them, but that window is completely shut if he leaves.
right.
They don't have enough to be able to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Um All right, moving on. Zach Sealer, he ends up, the Dolphins make him the Dolphins' highest paid defensive player ever at defensive tackle, which is great news for him. Don't know if you know much about this guy. I didn't really until I read about him, but former college walk on at some very low level college that I'd never even heard of. I think Ferris, Ferris something. uh,
Yeah,
but he was drafted by the Ravens in 2018 in the seventh round. He was cut and scooped up the next day by the Dolphins, which is kind of crazy. So this is a guy who's kind of been through the ranks, worked his way up, and now really earned a very good paycheck for himself.
right.
Very happy for him, and he solidifies the middle of their offensive line there, which it's kind of convenient that they paid him like 2 days after Christian Wilkins gets cut by the Raiders.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. Khalil Shakir, week to week, with a high ankle sprain that he suffered in practice. This is news because he's going to be fantasy relevant. We don't know
There
how
is.
relevant, but could have been the guy there. So we got to kind of figure that out. And the Bills just don't have a lot of great news coming out of camp right now with James Cook still sitting out. He wants more money. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, based on like how he played last year, like I kind of don't blame him. Like,
I don't like this
it,
though. Like I have one good year that I need to get paid. It's like the years before that he had very low touchdown, and I think those are going to come down. The numbers are going to come down big time. There will be some touchdown regression this year. Not, I say big time. Even if it comes down five, right? What do you have? 16 touchdowns last year? 15? Like
yeah, 16.
16, yeah. So if it comes down 5 to 11, that's still an incredible season for him. Probably a Pro Bowl season, but I just don't see the 16. I think more of those are going to shift Josh Allen's way this year. Um,
Well, I think that the confusing thing with James Cook is like he's still on a. I'm pretty sure he's still on like a rookie deal.
he is. He is.
So like, dude, you're gonna get paid of like you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
I like I get like trying to want to get that and capitalizing on that, but like you're also kind of on a rookie deal. Like
Yeah.
sure, you've run for 2,000 yards. This is your second straight season, but like I don't know, man. I don't
It's
know.
also, and like this doesn't get talked about enough, but there's also another game to place that over now. It used to be 16, then it's 17, now it's 18, right? Like it's
Yeah,
17 games that he can pad stats on. So 1,000 yards doesn't seem like the cutoff to me anymore. I'm still looking at guys that I feel like, okay, can they get to 1,200, 1,300 yards? That feels like more suitable with the two games coming in, um, or the two games extra.
I think I think still for me like 1,000 yards, like that's still kind of hard to do.
I agree. I agree.
Like it's not like in receiving as well. Like I still like if you can put up 1,000 yards receiving, that's or rushing, that's still pretty good.
It is.
I
It
know you have the
is.
extra game right now, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's a
Um,
reason not a lot of people do it. Like
it's true. It's true.
yeah,
That's what makes those other numbers like 2,000 that much more elusive when you see it. Is like, okay, yeah, it seems attainable because there's the extra game, but still very impressive to see anyone go through and do that.
yeah.
Okay. Other news that we got: Teddy Bridgewater, which we didn't talk about him a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw this come out, but he signed with the
I,
Bucks now. But can like maybe I haven't read enough about it, but like it seems like we're trying to cook this guy for doing something really good and helping out kids.
oh, cool. I'm glad that we're gonna make a joke about this because like the
Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater that got suspended because for impermissible benefits for players, I
Yeah.
think it's hilarious at a high school level.
Yeah. Did you
That's like
you
so
saw what he
fucking
was?
funny to
You
me.
saw what he was doing though, right? Like
Yeah,
I didn't really disagree
yeah,
with it. He was just saying like these kids needed meals, these kids needed equipment, these kids needed these types of features. Like who am I to not give it to them?
yeah,
Right? Like it's not like he's saying like okay, he's sending bills to people. He literally wrote all of the stuff that he's paid for. When you add that up, holy Christ, like he did a
yeah,
lot of stuff for these kids. Yeah, you want to talk about benefits? They did have more benefits playing for him.
yeah.
Sue him for
Also,
doing it. But like
now we understand why Teddy Bridgewater needs a job again. He's just
well
paid for a lot of stuff.
well no, I think it's funny. They suspended him so he's like, "All right, I'll go be a backup quarterback again."
Yeah,
And
that's
like
fine.
I don't know. I just felt like in a time where we're trying to like shame people for impermissible benefits. Like how about like someone tip their hat to this guy for like doing something for these kids that like their parents clearly weren't able to do or couldn't afford to do. Right? He's
Yeah,
trying to take care of them, trying to bring them up in a right way, show them the right way. I don't know. I just good for him going with the Bucks. Hopefully that stuff washes over and he doesn't get in trouble for that cuz I just don't think that's right. It's not like he was giving them cash. He was giving them actual product, right? Like here's food. I'm paying for this food. I'm paying for this equipment. I'm paying for this rehab stuff. I don't know. I feel like that's nice by the guy.
Yeah.
And
Um, and I think too he has a real shot at becoming making like third string quarterback for this team.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah he could.
I mean, one and two is kind of entrenched with Mayfield and Kyle Trask, but like, you're telling me Bridgewater can't come in for a game?
I
Absolutely.
I honestly don't think it would be that hard for him to beat out Trask either.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah.
he could definitely be here. Speaking of which, before we jump into the NFC North, did you see the Browns, a little confused by their quarterback situation, decided to sign another quarterback? So they've
Yeah.
added a
Well,
fifth.
two of them are hurt currently
Yeah, yeah,
in Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel.
yeah.
So,
They
you
said
know,
let's bring three, and Deshaun Watson too.
yeah,
So
well, yeah, that he doesn't count as a human.
yeah,
So, okay. Um,
very interesting.
but like, yeah, this just feels like Cleveland's playing a Pokemon situation where you just got to collect them all.
I'm so glad you used that as a
Yeah,
reference there because yeah, gotta collect them all. I
you
guess.
really do.
I
So,
guess.
like, you could tell me that any of those quarterbacks are going to start minus Deshaun Watson this season, like the first game of the season. I believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think at this
Why
point.
not? This is what the Browns should do. First game of the season, there's 4 quarters. Put a new quarterback out there for each quarter. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
If you don't get the ball that quarter, not our fault, right? Like,
No, here's what you do. Okay, minus Watson, there are what, five quarterbacks?
yeah.
Okay, hear me out. So you get all right. So obviously one per quarter. The one who doesn't get a quarter starts the next game first quarter, and you just run through the cycle again.
Why don't we just give them plays, right? Run out with a whole new
Yeah,
play. Like,
swap them
okay,
out every play.
every
Swap
play,
them out every play.
new quarterback, every play.
Yeah,
That's oh my
that's
god.
it.
I'll tell you. You
God,
know
why
what?
are we not running teams right
Listen,
now?
if
I mean,
anyone is out there listening in the ether, we should be running the Cleveland Browns.
God,
Yes.
I think we could do better. I don't think we could do a worse job than currently what's going on.
Let's see. Can we?
Yeah,
Can we? I don't know. I really don't.
yeah.
All right, guys. Jumping into our NFC North preview, we've got the Chicago Bears to start. This will be a fun one, right?
The Chicago Bears, winners of the offseason the last 15 years, it feels like,
Y-
and they never do shit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, last year, listen, they finished fourth in the NFC North, and it was they were talked up heavily before the season started last year because of Caleb Williams coming in and all of that. Looks like I may get a visitor here in a second. So
oh,
last year
Pablo?
they finished, yeah, they finished fourth in the NFC at 5-12. It's Caleb Williams' first year, right? And another Shane Waldron departure, which we're not surprised. But
Yeah,
this year they kind of have a new mantra, right? New head coach, new offensive mind in Ben Johnson. I think this is going to be a really big change for them this year. And with any coaching regime change, you have to bring in not only your own guys and change some things, but also some of the players as well. So free agency gave us kind of a look into the looking glass of exactly what we can expect from Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, kind of them paired together here. But
yeah,
they focused on improved offensive line help. They bring in Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, and Jonah Jackson, which is a big help to be able to change up this offensive line. You're talking about you've got Braxton Jones at one of the tackle spots, but basically the interior of the line is completely different this year. And they needed to be able to do that to give Caleb Williams a little bit more time. Now, I believe there was stats that showed like he held onto the ball more than most quarterbacks last year, and he's got to get better at that. But it's not easy when you have guys chasing after you all the time and you're running for your life. So what they did, and Ben Johnson realizes the games are won up front. You can have a lot of playmakers, but if you can't win the game in the trenches, you're not going to have much of a chance. So they improve the offensive line. They also add Grady Jarrett and add Odea Bingo. Ode Yingbo. Ode Yingbo.
you did a better
Deo
job of
Ode
doing that than I would
Yingbo.
have.
Yeah, that was better than
Yeah,
yesterday, or last week rather, right? But they add him. He's a good edge rusher for them as well. But they're shoring up the trenches, and that's a big deal for this team because with the games that they were losing, a lot of them they just weren't able to control the game up front. And in this division, they're going to need to do that. So moving into the draft, they end up taking Colson Loveland at tight end, which, again, it just gives me the same feeling that I feel for the Colts, right? Like a tight end in the first round. I don't know. If he's Brock
Sure.
Bowers esque, great. But the comp for this guy, Loveland, out of Michigan, is they think he's like Sam Laporta. And that's basically what Ben Johnson's going to use him for here. And if we remember how that worked the first time, worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
So they also added a burner in Luther Burden the third out of Missouri. So he's going to be another wide receiver. Don't forget last year they had Odunze come in. He's still got DJ Moore there, but also they've moved on from Keenan Allen. So they really needed to get another guy opposite DJ Moore and Odunze that could really burn it, and this guy is. Burden's a great receiver for them. Um, let's see, but they made a lot of changes, right? They've got a new system in this year. We should get a pretty good idea of how good Caleb Williams operates within this system. But I feel like deep down, Ben Johnson would not have left Detroit, which was a great situation for him to come here if he didn't feel like his system could really, really work and flourish with this team and this quarterback. Um,
Sure. It's, I kind of, I'm gonna say thing. Their schedule, you have this being an easy schedule, but I'm kind of like looking at it. There aren't a lot of guinea games on here,
oh no, I don't think there's gimme games. It's just ranked the second easiest schedule that they have in the league. So it's
which is bonkers because they
yeah.
start the year in Minnesota, Detroit, Dallas, Vegas, Washington,
Yeah, that's a really tough start for them. 5 games out, but
and they have the early bye week too,
they do, which
which
I don't care for, by the way. Can we start bye weeks around like week 7 and run them
I
through
could
like
not
week
agree more
11,
with that.
7 to
Yeah,
11, and have them done, right? 7 teams a week, boom, done. Well, I
yeah.
guess you can't do 7, can't do an odd number,
Well,
but
8.
8, right?
Yeah,
8 times 4, 32. There we go. 4 weeks
yeah, I
done.
got you. I got you on the math.
Again,
I got
we
you.
should be in the headquarters doing
I
this
don't.
stuff.
I don't know why we're not.
Yeah. But for this schedule, how do you have them finishing this year?
I think they're going to finish 7-10, respectfully.
Whoa. Okay.
Yep. I think that there's going to be a marginal improvement, but like
Mm.
this schedule is a weirdly hard schedule, and I just here's the thing with the Bears. They've only had 4 winning seasons since their Super Bowl season in '06,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been what feels like the winners of the offseason for the past 3 seasons, and it hasn't meant jack diddly. Like
Yeah.
it really hasn't. I I love that Ben Johnson's their coach. Um, there just has been a lot about Caleb Williams where you're just like, man, this guy. There's a lot of off-field, weird off-field stuff with him. That's not great. There's a book coming out in September called like I think it's like American Quarterback, and it's by Seth Wickersham,
Mm-hmm.
and like what kind of ended up happening was like Caleb Williams' dad like told him a bunch of shit that he probably wasn't supposed to, and it's like kind of
Uh,
coming out in this book now
about him
where it's
not
like
wanting to be drafted by the Bears and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know, maybe he like figures it out and starts to get it, but like yeah, I think they're going to be 7-10 this year, and I
Okay.
think they're going to finish last in the division.
I have them actually finishing 9-8 this year and finishing third, just
Okay.
because I think they could win 7 games, right? But I think Ben Johnson is going to be creative enough that they can win 2 more from that, and I think the defense is better than we're anticipating. So this team, I think they're gonna go through struggles this year. I think I've had to fight this notion of being a Caleb Williams defier, I guess you could call it, but like that I don't believe in him, like a non-believer. And it's not that I don't believe in him. I just feel like there's so many good quarterbacks in the NFL right now that I've seen do it at the top level, right? I don't think I bought into the hype that a lot of people did, him coming from college, because you know that like you're playing in the grown-ups game at this point. So I just didn't hop on that bandwagon of like he's going to come in and be so great. I thought like no, I haven't seen this before. I probably am not going to see it now. Like even the same way I'm kind of chasing the stuff of like the younger Manning that's playing in college now, right? Like as
Oh, Archman,
yeah,
yeah.
like as good as he's going to be in college this year, and even if he lights the all of college on fire this year, right? And he's incredible. he's still going to take his lumps when he gets to the NFL. The best quarterback that I've felt I've ever seen play in Peyton, and granted, like accolades don't prove that, but like the best technician I've seen at the quarterback position struggled mightily when he got into the league. So I feel like the idea of coming in and doing what Jaden Daniels did is so far outside of proximity, and I don't think we give enough credit to Jaden Daniels, and I don't think Caleb Williams gets enough heat for that either. Like
Yeah,
Drake May, different situation than Caleb Williams, different situation than Jaden Daniels. Still did very well. You could argue that Drake May had a better first year rookie season than Caleb Williams did. Or, I don't know, talking to Pats fans and Bears fans, I feel much better about the situation of Drake May than I do Caleb Williams. Seems like there's still this lingering cloud of doubt that surrounds this guy. Uh,
yeah,
and maybe Ben Johnson can figure out a way to help that dissipate, but I don't know, man. He's got to go out and prove it, right? He's got all the playmakers now. Listen, the Ferraris and Lamborghinis are in the garage now. Now you got to figure out how to be able to work them, right? It's not our fault you didn't know how to drive. We figured out how to pay for them. You got to figure out how to drive them.
right.
You know, really sucks to have all
Yeah,
the Ferraris in there and you don't know how to drive stick, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm not going in there because I can't fit in them, right? I know that.
No,
So I
please.
stay out of the garage, right? You're in the garage, but you don't know how to drive them, right? Come on, dude. Like, make it make sense. It just, oh yeah. So a lot of fun with the Bears. The Bears. Uh,
Bears.
yeah. Moving on, we've got the Green Bay Packers. Last year they finished third in the division, which it's kind of crazy. They finished third with a record of 11-6. But listen, they got off to a funky start with the Love injury. I think that kind of set things off weird at the beginning. Uh,
Yeah,
but there was some really good stuff, right? Josh Jacobs had a very strong year for them, and was one of the bright lights on this team of what he was able to do. Uh, Very relevant in fantasy, but played very well there. And it seemed like Green Bay was smart in paying him the money that they did in the offseason. But one of the questions is who are the wide receivers on this team? I mean, outside of Jaden Reed and a couple decent tight ends that they have, and Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrove. Uh, I get Jaden Reed's there, but like Dobbs is kind of like, dude, are you going to play or are you not? Like, what's the deal with these guys? Like any of the other guys that are in here, it's very difficult to be like, oh, that's the standout guy, right?
yeah,
In free agency, they made some moves, right? They signed Aaron Banks from San Francisco, which is a big pickup for them because it allowed them to shift over Elton Jenkins to center. So it's going to strengthen their offensive line a lot. They bring in Nate Hobbs, a former Raider, at cornerback, which should help them because they needed to get rid of Jaire Alexander. Like they had to fill that void, which I don't know how much of a position fill it was because he wasn't playing that much. But they needed to be able to get a guy in that's going to actually play and see the field. One thing that was kind of interesting they did as well in free agency, they ended up bringing in Brandon McManus at kicker, which I think is awesome because it gives them a little bit of consistency at the position. They've kind of been rotating ever since Mason Crosby left.
yeah.
And now they've got a guy in there that they feel like, all right, this guy's an established kicker. And McManus, don't forget, like he's got a couple 60-yarders under his belt from when he was with Denver. I think he was
Sure
down in
does. Yeah,
Jacksonville kicking field goals too. But the draft, they did the most un-Green Bay thing they've done in years when they drafted Matthew Golden at wide receiver, which gives Love a deep threat, right? And
sure.
from the talk from camp has been this guy's been lighting it on fire. Like there's no question this is the number one receiver on the team when they're going through camp. Also, Savion Williams, they get a big-bodied receiver for him too. So what I see Green Bay did in the draft was kind of say, okay, we're uncertain about the wide receiver position right now. Let's get guys in here that are going to compete and push the guys we've got. And either those guys are going to be here after or they're not. So these guys like Romeo Dobbs, listen, if you're going to be here, awesome. Christian Watson, if you can't figure it out, like I've never been a huge Christian Watson fan, but like the guy just can't stay healthy, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't bode well for him at all. Um, in terms of schedule, man, they're just outside the top five in terms of schedule strength this year. Um, but what do you see with this Packers team? Like, were you impressed by them this past year, or How do you feel about them?
I'm gonna say something kind of shitty. They were like the worst 11-6 team I've watched in a long time.
Right? Yeah.
Like their record did not reflect what I watched a lot of weeks with them. And here's the thing, they kind of hung around in the playoffs against the Eagles for a while. The problem was they just I don't know if you remember that game, like everybody got hurt in that game for Green Bay.
Mhm.
Like they were carting guys off like left and right, and
Yep.
you were just like, oh, and they just kind of ran out of firepower. And I understand why they had to give Jordan Love the money. I'm still not convinced he's an elite quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback
How much does he
because
get
I'm
paid?
going to say a thing.
Yeah.
If you're down four with 2 minutes left, I don't always trust that Jordan Love's going to lead you down the field.
I'm going to do one better for you on that. D-
Sure.
not I don't trust Love in a 2-minute drill. Not
No.
not that I don't always do, but I don't trust it very rarely. With this, I don't know, man. I also think he needs some better playmakers around him.
Yeah.
That's something too. Does he need to make better decisions? Absolutely. Do I think LaFleur is a great coach and he's going to get the best out of his players no matter what? Yes, I definitely feel that way. But I think this team regresses this year, and I think this is the year that they start to have to figure out, like, okay, some of the guys that are here shouldn't be here. We need to start cutting some of these guys and moving on from some of them, and I think it starts in
Yeah.
their wide receiver room. Um,
Yeah. I I have them finishing 9-8 this year.
ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're good enough that they play kind of a decent schedule. Yeah, I think they're gonna finish 9-8. I think they're gonna get swept by Minnesota and Detroit,
Hmm.
respectfully. Yeah, 9-8
Well,
seems
I have them finishing the exact opposite, like where you had the Bears finishing. So I have them finishing fourth and winning 7 games and losing 10. But we will see what ends up happening with them. Uh, within the next month here, it gets to start. So, Minnesota Vikings. Last year, listen, they finished second in the division with a record of 14-3. Kind of a rare year that we saw in the NFC, especially in this division, because we usually don't see that many teams with such high win totals. But it seemed like we were on this collision course for week 18. That just it had this train that was just barreling away, and this matchup was going to end with both teams figuring out like, okay, who's going to be the number one seed, who's going to win the division. But just shocking year, shocking end to the season. McCarthy gets injured before week 1. Sam Darnold leads the team on just a great run. They lose to Detroit the very last week and yield the number one seed to them, which was just kind of disappointing. But I don't know about you. I kind of felt like we had talked a little bit about it at that time, like their magic was kind of gone with
yeah.
that
Yeah,
loss.
Sam Darnold can only get you so far.
It
And
just it was just sad to see because you kind of felt like, okay, well, if they don't get the number one seed, there's a good chance this Rams team is very good, and that's exactly what happened in the first round. They end up
and that
losing.
Rams team housed them too.
Yeah, they couldn't score. They couldn't score on them.
Yeah.
They kicked 3 field goals, but they literally just couldn't get in range to be able to score. And that Rams team again had nothing to lose, and we're like, we don't care if you won 14, 15 games. We don't care. We're going to beat you.
Yeah.
Now they decide in the offseason, listen, they're going to move on from Darnold. He's not our guy. McCarthy is going to be the guy now. They even, which I probably the most underrated but also underappreciated move of the free agency season when O'Connell says no, we don't want Aaron Rodgers here. I thought
Yeah.
was such a low key great move for this organization because they could have done it, right?
They
Um,
could have done it and they very easily could have done it.
yeah, and I mean, let's be serious. This roster is a quarterback away.
Yep.
Top to bottom, it's a top 5 unit in terms of talent on this team. They add Jonathan Allen at defensive tackle, which is a huge disruptor for them, which is really good. And then they get Javon Hargrave, which that was their biggest struggle last year was stopping the run up front. This gives them 2 guys that can do that. What was the issue they had on offense? Well, they had a great offensive line. Their tackle got hurt at one point, but they were having issues in the interior. What did they do? They go out and get Will Freeze and Ryan Kelly from the Colts Freeze signed a 5-year deal with them, so he's going to be there a while. But they
Right.
had it to improve up front. They needed another running back to pair with Aaron Jones. What did they do? Well, they re-sign Aaron Jones, and then they go out and get Jordan Mason from San Francisco. Really, really good pickup for them, and I think he could be a stud this year running behind this line. But they also re-signed Byron Murphy Jr. on at cornerback for them, which was really big. They filled some really good spots through the draft, right? They get their starting guard spot down with Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State. Really, really big deal for them. But really, it was just depth pieces because this roster is so talented. They drafted a receiver, I want to say, in like the 5th or 6th round that I think could push Jalen Naylor out as the third receiver. But we will see. That's what happens when you have the luxury of having a guy like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison there at the top, and having good playmakers there. But they really did a lot. Again, this team is going to have a schedule just outside of the top 5 in the easiest schedules, and I think that's going to bode very, very well for them this year. Um, how do you have this team doing?
Um, so a couple things that kind of worry me already.
Yeah.
Uh, they're already kind of weirdly injured. Justin Jefferson dealing with a hamstring already.
Hmm.
Hawkinson got hurt again. Um, I don't want this. This already feels like a weird season from hell team. This feels like a start of a season from hell for Minnesota.
Hmm.
I think that they are really good, and I think they are a quarterback away. I think if you could just get average play from JJ McCarthy, I think this team contends for a division.
Oh,
The problem is
yeah.
the problem is we haven't seen it. We saw it that one preseason game last year where he was like, oh, he was pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm a little hesitant to say they're going to win the division. I think they're going to be really good because when you have that much talent on both sides of the ball, that kind of talent wins out more times than not.
Hmm.
That being said, with Jefferson kind of starting the year hurt, Hawkinson starting hurt, I think they're going to finish 12-5.
Okay, which isn't a bad record for starting hurt.
No, and we're going to talk about this with Detroit too. I think Detroit's going to regress,
Hmm.
and I think they're going to contend for that division again. I think when it's all said and done, I think they're going to finish second, but I think it's going to come down to the final week of the season again for them.
Ooh, okay.
So
So
yeah,
just a few things that I wanted to mention. Hawkinson always seems like he's banged up. He's always got like
really is.
hip or something like that. So I think he'll be okay. Better that it's not better that Jefferson's having a hamstring injury, but like better that it's happening now instead of into the preseason weeks, right?
Yeah,
Where he can kind of nurse it back. But again, something to kind of keep on the radar. I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I think, and the word I used for McCarthy was all right. If he can play all right, this team,
yeah,
this team can end up in the second week of the playoffs. If he
yeah,
plays all right. If things click for him, this could be a very, very dangerous team because they got better on offense, right? In
yeah.
terms of shoring up their offensive line, they got better on defense up front. I mean,
You're going to figure it out with McCarthy quick too. I was reading recently that he's going to play Saturday in their preseason opener.
and don't forget,
So
there's
I
no
think
film on this guy either.
there really isn't, and I
So
think you could kind of benefit from that. Like this is kind of his rookie season essentially. Like, and I think you can kind of benefit from that when there's not a lot of tape on you.
yeah.
Yeah, it all hinges on him, unfortunately, and that's
Hmm.
kind of that sucks. But like, that is what that is. Like, but I mean, he is a really good head coach in Kevin O'Connell, who is
He
kind of
does.
at this point we can say he's really good at coaching quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's a quarterback whisperer for sure.
He what he got out of Sam Darnold last year.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins the year before. I mean,
Yeah,
look at this guy.
like
What
that's
he's won almost 30 games in the last 2 seasons.
yeah,
Like with these guys, man in the helm, right? At
yeah.
least 25 games. Like it's crazy for him to be able to do what he's doing, but he's figuring it out.
You know when you remember what this past offseason when Stafford was like looking to get traded?
Hmm.
I secretly was hoping he'd go to the Vikings.
Oh, he could have been really good there.
God, I think about it. I think I like thought about it a lot, and that was like my perverse like, man, I want Matthew Stafford just to throw to Justin Jefferson. Like he got to play with Calvin Johnson and let that man play with him. Like it
Yeah.
was like I was like borderline perverse. I was like, man, I just kind of want to watch that kind of football.
That's
Like
the way I kind of feel with him in LA. And honestly, the Rams right now are like a top three team, top four team for me in the NFC. Like that's how good,
I
that's
agree.
how
Yeah,
dangerous I think they are. And adding Devonte Adams to that, like, dude, even hearing Dan Orlovsky yesterday on ESPN talking about it, like, got me excited in ways that I don't feel comfortable sharing. Because, like,
yeah.
hearing him, like, dude, they can just show up. He knows, like, I'm going to run a 20 out hitch and it's going to be right in his face. Like, I'm just getting excited hearing that. I don't know.
That's how I felt when I thought for a minute there was a world where Stafford could play for the Vikings.
Yeah.
It was like borderline perverse. I was like, man,
Yeah.
you're telling me that he's just gonna throw that beautiful deep ball on a cross for
Yeah.
Jefferson and he's just gonna catch it in stride? Like oh
Could be
baby,
amazing.
like
Yeah. Now you have them, you said finishing second at
12-5.
12
Yeah.
and 5. I have them winning the division this year at 13 and 4.
Okay.
I mean we're very close with that, but I think it's not going to be a landslide. It's going to come right down to the end of the
Yeah.
season. I don't know if it's
And
going to be
if
the last
McCarthy
week,
plays
but
above if McCarthy plays above average, there's a real world where you're like, okay, no, they won the division this year. Like, okay, no,
so
that
this
makes
is
sense. Like,
what Jane Daniels did last year was an anomaly, but it makes us beg to question, like, okay, so if a first year guy can do that, then a second year guy could do that. Third
yeah,
year guy, like anybody could, right?
the precedent's already been set,
Yeah.
so like it could happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Just
yeah.
wait. I think someone that's going to play better as expected, but I think a little bit better than that is it Trow out of New Orleans? I know
Oh
he's
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
rookie that's there. I look out, man. Like he's just
The
a
guy
guy
that's like
going in that's going to
48
try to
years
do his
old and they
best.
drafted him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. Okay, so let's move on to the Detroit Lions, and we'll wrap up the NFC North here. So they finished as NFC North champs last year, 15 and 2. We talk a lot about them, guys, so we understand. Like we don't have to go through everything, but they were upset last year in the divisional round by Washington. I was able to watch that game on a plane, by the
and
way.
still, I think about that game once a week
Yeah,
because there's no reason Washington should have did what they did to Detroit.
dude, I just kept feeling this weird feeling of like this isn't happening. This isn't
Yeah,
happening, and seeing Dan Campbell's face on the sideline of being like, what is happening right now? Like,
because if you play that game 10 times, Detroit wins that game eight
at
times.
least, yeah.
And seven of those, they beat the shit out of them.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It was kind of similar to me, in my opinion, similar to the game that they played against Houston earlier in the year. Detroit
Yeah,
did, where it was like, okay, this is starting off really bad. But what that game with Houston showed me was doesn't matter even if Goff throws 5 picks, they could figure out a way back into the game. The problem is they didn't figure out a way back into the game.
yeah,
Um, and that was kind of the issue, right? It's difficult, but just the bewilderment, the surprise that you could see on his face. But to be honest, the fact that the Lions were there at that point was interesting because they were snake bit by the injury bug last year, which I
they
know that's
really were.
it just it was very difficult for them. But Dan Campbell is a guy is one of the few coaches in the league that I feel like he definitely has his team believing every year that they can compete now. And this is a city that didn't feel that ever before. And
Yeah,
that's surprising with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn both taking new head coaching jobs. They had to kind of reload. Free agency, listen, they end up getting DJ Reed from the Jets, who really wasn't. I'm not sure he's going to fill in for Carlton Davis, but should be all
it's
right.
kind of a nice. It's a nice depth signing, if anything
It
else.
is. He just the problem is like he doesn't have that many picks. He's a decent defensive back, but they need more right out of it.
Yeah,
They end up getting Avonte Maddox from who comes over from Philly, but other than that, they were very quiet in the offseason. Very quiet. Really, I think the biggest thing for Detroit is getting their guys healthy and back in the lineup. They were missing the majority of the guys on their defense because they were all hurt.
yeah,
But the draft, listen, all the pieces they drafted were nice, but most are just depth pieces. Same thing with this roster as with Minnesota. Or Philly. It's great that you get drafted, but you may not even make the team because there's so
yeah.
many good players on this team. Like Ratledge,
I think
he. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think with the defensive pieces they drafted, like I think they're gonna I think they're gonna play because
Yeah, if guys
I
get
mean,
hurt.
like I understand that like Hutchinson's like gonna start the season and he's back to 100%, but like, is he?
This
Like
is
that injury was so goddamn gross that
yeah.
like,
This is the crazy thing about that too is like even having a guy like Hutchinson drafting another pass rusher like in the draft isn't a big deal because it just gives him more rest. It's not
yeah,
about playing every snap during the season. It's about making sure that you play enough good snaps that you get to the postseason, and then you could play those big snaps if you need to.
right.
And I feel like they're going to be better at rotating guys this year, as long as they're healthy. They ended up one of the guys they drafted was this guy Ratledge, who he's going to slot in really nice at right guard because I know with Frank moving on at center, they end up moving Glasgow to center, which is a natural move for him. But then
Yeah.
Ratledge is going to slot right in there, so they're going to have a really strong, good offensive line, even though he's a rookie.
Ratledge just plays guard, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
yeah
yeah.
he's going to be learning from
I
some
think
of the best there, right?
yeah.
Um, but listen, they've got one of the easiest schedules this year. I just think they need that with the departure of some of their coordinators and the battles that they had last year. I think having an easier schedule is going to bode well for them this year.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so for me, that's when I like really thought about like what kind of record they were going to have.
mhm.
I think back to the Eagles a couple of years ago after that Super Bowl season where they lost to the Chiefs,
Yeah,
and then they lost both their coordinators and the disarray that they were in after that.
yeah, it was really
And
tough.
I think this is going to tell a lot about Dan Campbell as a head coach
Hmm.
on like who he replaces like as coordinators.
Yeah,
And now, granted, if you're the offensive coordinator for this team and you have Jameer Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Jamison Williams, David Montgomery, like Jared Goff, like your job's kind of pretty easy.
Not to mention you have arguably a top five line in the game to be able to run the ball, protect your
Yeah,
quarterback from not forcing him to throw 40 times a game, right? They've got to
yeah,
continue
cool.
to do what they do well, run the ball.
Yeah, you're just gonna run it behind Sewell.
Yeah.
Like, great. That's fucking easy. Anybody could do that. Like,
Also, Gibbs, I think, is going to get more of a timeshare this year, especially with the Montgomery injury. But you saw when Montgomery was out last year and Gibbs had to handle a full load, he can handle it.
it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just, I just
As
feel,
somebody that had him in fantasy football last year, I can tell
yeah.
you it worked out great.
Well, and this is the crazy thing. I'd see people being like, they're not giving Gibbs the ball when he's in the red zone, but they're at like the 25. They hand him the ball and he scampers in for like a 25-yard run, and you're
Yeah.
like, it looked like he was jogging. Like
Yeah.
he's a special player, man. A lot of fun since he's been in the league.
Detroit's window is it's their window is open now, and they do not have many more years of like, okay, we're one of the best teams in the NFC.
Hmm.
We've really got to capitalize on this.
I would say they probably got two more good years of Jared Goff before things start to like you're going to see
Yep.
him start to come down a little bit. And this is a guy like I know a lot of people are still not Jared Goff believers, but this is a guy that can make every single throw on the field. He's figured out a system that works for him in a city that loves him with a coaching staff that loves him and players that trust in him and a line that he feels comfortable with. Like,
I loved him on quarterback this
yeah,
season.
don't sleep on this guy.
He's kind of a weirdo,
Yeah,
but I kind of love him.
yeah.
Like,
It's very enjoyable to see him on the show.
yeah.
Um,
But I think you and I have them finishing the Detroit the same. I think they're going to finish 12-5.
yep.
I
Hmm.
think the NFC is going to be a little more loaded this year.
Yep.
So I don't think you're going to see a team like Detroit who last year went 15 and you're just not going to see that this year.
No, I
You're going
think
to see a lot of teams beating up on each
a
other.
lot more parity. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I think 12-5, I think they're going to win the division.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I do, but like I said, I know I picked Minnesota at 12-5 as well. It's going to again come down to the last week of the season.
Okay. All right. So you
So
actually have them either splitting during and then winning off the tiebreaker, or maybe Detroit wins both of those games. And I guess it won't really matter. If you still have Detroit winning the division, then they're going to
yeah.
beat them in the tiebreaker. But yeah,
Well, I think the Bears are going to win one of those games against Detroit
ah,
because like Ben Johnson's going to be up to some shit.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to be an
yeah,
interesting chess match, right?
yeah.
Very
Like he's going to
interesting.
be into some weird stuff, and you're going to see some weird offense in that game, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the NFC North for us. If you go ahead and drop a comment below, let us know what you think of how these teams are going to finish, and if there's something you think we missed on it, definitely point it out in a nice way, right? But anything else you wanted to mention?
No, what's the division we're going to look at next week?
Next week, I believe we are going to be getting into the NFC South. All right, so we'll cover the Saints,
Uh,
Panthers, Falcons, and Bucks. That might be a quick one, guys.
yeah, I was like, well, this is the division where legally somebody has to win it.
Yep, they
So,
have to. So, yeah, we'll be breaking them down next week. And then the following week, we'll finish out with the NFC West, be able to wrap up those teams. So we got 8 teams left. And I think, interesting enough about that, once we get done with those teams, we'll give one last fantasy preview
yeah.
uh, going in. So we'll give you our fantasy picks at each position for the league for the year. And then we could see where we go from there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and we should just let the people know in advance. I'm a defending fantasy football champion, so
yeah.
just kind of listen to my picks. I mean, like listen to Willie's as well, but like when it really comes set all said and done, just listen to my picks. I won't steer you wrong.
You're
We'll be
saying
fine.
that for Uncle Raj, right? Just so
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Uncle Roger should really tune
Oh,
in when
and
we do that.
and and John, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Your
we
children.
should. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but we will be back next week breaking down the NFC South. Until then, man, I love you,
yeah.
buddy. Glad to do
I
another
love you
one
too,
with you.
man.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you Thursday night, buddy, and it's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah. For the
Woo!
rest of you, enjoy. Take care,
Yeah.
guys. Peace.
Peace.